Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Liaquat. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome to my channel, Roots of Knowledge. Rock, R-O-K. If you guys like this channel, if you guys are first time channel viewers, then check out the other videos I make. There might be something in there that interests you, and share it with other people as well. Right, let's start with this lesson then. We are going through in this series Kanz al-Daqaiq, which is a Hanafi Fiqh manual, and it's very, very interesting because it's quite condensed, so it requires a bit of explanation. All right, so this is a new chapter that we're starting now. This is the chapter of what we call Khiyar al-Ayb. Khiyar al-Ayb. Khiyar al-Ayb basically is, if you buy something, you have the right to have the item sound, right? Which means mubadalatul mali bil mali bit taradi, meaning whenever two people, buyer and seller, exchange items, whether it's cash and commodity or commodity for commodity or cash for cash, both parties have the right to be content, happy, satisfied with this transaction. This is called taradi. Now, if a person finds in an item that they have purchased a fault, for example, like a mobile phone, you might find the screen is cracked, you might find some buttons are not working, you might find it doesn't charge properly, you might find that some software errors are inside of it, or the camera is faulty. Or you might buy a car might have some engine problems, seating might not be proper, central locking might not be closing, steering wheel might be a bit stiff. These are things which are known as faults or aibs, defects. So what is considered to be a defect and how can you get your money back? This is what we're going to be studying in this chapter. So today we are starting this chapter. So we're not really going to be talking about all the masail today. We're just going to be talking a little bit with this little introduction. And then hopefully we're going to start to understand how these things work. One of the things you have to realize when it comes to this kind of a chapter is that a lot of these masail, a lot of these matters are actually based upon experience as well. So you might have bought and sold in the past. You might be aware of certain faults which other people are not aware of. And likewise, sometimes some people, they buy something, they find a fault, they're not really bothered. They just say, you know what, just leave it, we'll just carry on. So it could differ from person to person, but there must be some rules that everyone shares and everyone agrees upon. So this is why we study this chapter. So he says, Man wajada bil mabi'i ayban, whoever finds a fault, a defect in the commodity, in the item that they purchased, akhadahu bi kulli thaman aw raddahu. So he takes it for the full value or he returns it. What does this mean? It means like this. Let's say, for example, I have a shop. You come to my shop, you buy a laptop. Once you buy this laptop, you bought it on Monday, you went home and you checked it out and you found that there's a fault in there. Now, let's say, for example, the laptop was for £500. You found the fault in there. You cannot come back to me and ask me for a partial refund. You can't say to me, well, I bought it for 500 and there's a button that's missing or the screen is slightly cracked. So I want you to give me back £100. You can't do that. What you can do is either get a full refund, give the laptop back to me, and I will give you your £500 back, or you can just keep the laptop with the fault and say no more questions. Yeah, you accept it as it is. Question is, why can't you ask for a partial refund? So the reason is because for anything to have a value in Hanafi Fiqh, the two parties must have agreed upon its value. So anything, imagine anything in your room. Look around you, look at anything out there. What's the value of this? So everything either has a market value, but not everything has a sale value, right? A sale price. The sale price is only existing when the two parties agree upon a contract. So this is why, let's say I want to sell my car. I can sell my car for £1,000, £2,000, £3,000 for whatever I want to sell it for. But in the markets, the value of the car might be, for example, £3,000. So what does this tell us? This tells us that because that crack in the screen or because that faulty button has not been agreed upon in a price, you cannot use the market value to reduce the money that you've given me. So now you bought this laptop off me for 500, you must take it for 500. End of story. If you want to give it back, you give it all back and you get your full refund. This is why he's saying أخذه بجميع بكل الثمن. He takes it for the full thaman, the price, أو رده, or he returns it and gets a full refund. Now, what is considered to be an Ayb? What is considered to be an Ayb in itself? So he says, the Ayb ما أوجب نقصان الثمن عند التجار عيب. Anything which creates a deficiency in the price according to the businessmen out there, according to business people, is considered to be an Ayb. So let's take a car, for example. What things in a car would reduce its value? So scratches on the car, broken mirrors, problems with the engine, digital problems, electrical problems, problems with the seating, problems with the tires. All of these things would render. Would having dust on the car, would that reduce its price? Not really. So that would not be considered to be an Ayb. Let's take, for example, a house. Someone buys a house. What kind of things could possibly reduce the price of a house? So you might say damaged walls. You might say something like damp. You might say where piping's missing, electric central heating's missing, electric wires are missing, or even the house is, let's say, requires a lot of repairs. The garden is flooded. So many things can happen in a house that could reduce its value. So this is why they say that reduction of value or an Ayb is only considered when the businessmen of the markets consider that item to have lost value because of that particular change. So you just think about anything that comes to your mind. Mobile phone, it might be clothing, you go to a shop. What kind of things would reduce the value of shoes or dress or a shirt? So ما أوجب النقصان الثمن, anything that necessitates the reduction of the price according to the business people, this is considered to be an Ayb. Right, next. So here he gives some examples of Aybs that existed in the early years. So in the early years, they used to sell, slaves. They used to sell what else? They used to sell items, clothing, all these kind of things. However, here he's given an example of slaves because slave selling was something that people understood in them days. Therefore, it was easier for them to be able to relate to this. Now, in today's days, we don't have slaves. So therefore, for us, examples like selling a car, selling a phone, buying even tea in a coffee shop or a tea shop, buying groceries, shopping from Asda, Tesco, this would be where we would kind of come out with our examples. So what examples does he come out with? So he says, كالإباق والبول في الفراش والسرقة والبخر والدفر وزنا وولده في الأمة. So he's saying like ibaq. Ibaq is basically like running away. So in other words, if a slave is habitually running away, a slave runs away, whether that slave is considered to be a male slave or a female slave, a slave that runs away is going to be a problem for the customer. Like you come to my shop, I'm selling a slave, and you say to me, has this slave ever run away before? And I say, no, he hasn't run away. Right? Then you're probably going to buy it. But if I said, yeah, it has run away a few times, then you're going to be thinking twice, like for example, like a pet or something like that runs away. You'll be thinking to yourself, no point buying the slave. The slave's going to cause me headache. It's going to run away. So this would be something that would reduce its price. Now, some of the more advanced books, they actually they discuss this and say, okay, let's say, for example, I sold you the slave on Monday. If that slave I sold to you on Monday is a slave that had already run away on Saturday, so it ran away on Saturday, and then when you bought it off me, it ran away with you. So on Wednesday, let's say, in your possession, it ran away. Now, the problem that you have is you have to prove that this running away that it did on Wednesday was due to the running away that it did on Saturday, right? So here is where it becomes a bit tricky now. Like, how can you prove that the running away that it did on Wednesday is connected to the running away it did on Saturday? So they say that if the slave is a minor, a child, right? If the slave is under the age of puberty and it ran away on Saturday and now it's grown up, let's say it's reached maturity, adulthood, and now it ran away as an adult on Wednesday, then this will not be considered an Ayb, because the running away of a child is for various reasons, which are usually to do with childness, a childish behavior. But a running away of an adult is because that adult is trying to escape, the adult does not want to work for the master, and so forth. So the buyer would consider this to be a defect only if that reason for why it ran away on Wednesday was the same reason for why it ran away on Saturday. So if the slave was an adult on Saturday, ran away, and then it ran away after Monday on Wednesday in your possession, this would be considered to be an Ayb. Right? Why would this be considered to be an Ayb? Simply because an adult running away, whether it was before contract, pre-contract, or post-contract, here you look at the reason for why it would run away. So usually adults would run away because they are fed up with their masters, they don't want to stay with their masters, which is understandable. But we are not looking at the morality of this. What we're looking at is that whether this is something that reduces the price of the slave. Okay, so like I said to you, nowadays today we don't have slaves, so we can't really relate to this kind of masala as they would be able to. In our times, it would be something like, for example, like a pet or something, or maybe even a car or something else. Car had this engine problem on Saturday, you bought it on Monday, and then on Wednesday it had this engine problem. If you can prove that the engine problem that you experienced on Wednesday is the same engine problem that existed on Saturday, then you win your case and you can give the item back. Right? So this is where, like I said, it becomes tricky because you have to be able to prove to the courts. Because remember, this is a matter, you're going to be lifting it to the court, taking it to the court. This is a matter which would require, the judge would require evidence to prove that this slave has run away. Now, the advanced books have gone into a lot of detail about this. Like I said, I don't want to go into all the details over here because I don't want to make this book into something like Hidayah. In Hidayah, he mentions this in more detail, and in Bahr al-Raiq. Okay, number 2, al-Bawl fil firash. So, Bawl fil firash, urinating in the bed. So, if a child urinates, so if the slave is a child and he urinates on Saturday, I sold it to you on Monday, and then on Wednesday he urinated in the bed again, then this would be considered to be the same problem. Yeah, so it's the same problem, so therefore you have the right to give it back. That's only if you can prove that the child had urinated with me. And if you didn't know if he urinated with me, then it can't be considered to be a fault. The same, like I said, goes for an adult. So if an adult urinates and then I sell it, and then the adult urinates again in your possession on Wednesday, it's roughly going to be the same reason for why it urinated twice. But if the child urinated and then later on he grew up and then I sold the child as an adult and you purchased it and the child and the adult urinated on Wednesday, the reason is not going to be the same. Right? The reason is not going to be the same. Okay, so this is again fil firash, urinating in the bed. The third is wasarqa, theft. Again, if a thief steals and then child steals again, pre-contract, post-contract, before Monday, on Saturday, and on Wednesday in your possession, then we would consider it to be the same reason. Again, you would have to prove that the child stole whilst it was in my ownership. And if it's an adult, again, adult steals on Saturday, and then when it's sold on Monday, on Wednesday it steals again. Most likely it's the same reason. But if it was a child and the child grew up and then the adult stole, the reason is not going to be the same, because children, when they steal, that's simply because they don't have any sort of like concept of responsibility as an adult has. Okay, right. I think we'll stop it there and we'll do the rest inshallah in the next lesson. So this is the chapter of Ayb. Ayb, trying to get your head around Ayb and defects in items is something which is quite tricky. But what I would say is try your best to try and read up other books, Qudoori, al-Khiyar, maybe even Sharh al-Wiqaya, or even Sharh of Mukhtasar al-Tahawi. These are kind of books that you want to try and read on the side to try and get your mind around this concept of Ayb, so that the rest of the masalas become easy. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I will see you guys next time. Oh yeah, patrons, thank you very much for all your support. Patrons, really appreciate it. May Allah bless all of you. And if any of you guys want to support this channel, donate to this channel, links in the description. You can donate through PayPal. You can become a monthly donator to this channel through the Patreon, and there are lots of perks for patrons. Get access to Usul al-Shashi, and I guess to Maqamat al-Hariri, and to Nukhbat al-Fikr, and there are so many other courses that are not available publicly but available to the patrons. Thank you very much, guys. and I will see you guys later. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakumullah khair, guys, for all of your support. Without your support, I wouldn't have been able to produce the videos that I've put up on my YouTube channel. And there is so much more that I really want to do. And without the support of you guys who are patrons, generously supporting this channel, I've been able to get myself a camera, which, as you guys can see, the quality of this camera, mic system, software. I've been able to hire an editor. So what do I want to do? I want to make lots and lots and lots of more videos for beginners, for intermediate, advanced, in the subjects like Arabic and Fiqh and Hadith and Tafsir and Aqidah and all those other things as well. And for this to happen, again, this channel needs support. So if you guys want to become patrons and support this channel, then check out the link below. Also, if you do become patrons, you'll have access to videos that I don't put up on my normal YouTube channel. So check that out, inshallah. And there's most other perks as well that you guys can benefit from. And if you want to access this channel through social media, we've got Twitter, we've got Instagram, Facebook page, and other things as well that you can visit. So Jazakumullah khair again, guys. Thank you very much for your support. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair for watching this video. I hope to see all of you guys. If you guys are interested, please leave us feedback, get in contact with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.